Okay, I've moved to higher ground. Where I am now, I'm probably about probably a good 15 feet or so above the lake level, so the ground should be a little bit drier, should drain a little bit better. Don't have to worry about the lake level coming up if one of the local utility opens up a dam or something like that. So I feel a little safer being up here rather than right on the water's edge, right at water level. I don't have as much shelter here because it's all hardwood. As you can see, there's not much evergreen here, so it's kind of open. The lake isn't too far away, so I may go back there and drag the canoe up here and use that. At least I've got that for tonight if I need it. I got to start building a shelter today, so that's the goal today, is to get the shelter built before the sun goes down tonight. But in the meantime, it's really cold. I'm really chilled through, so like I said earlier today, it's really important I get a fire going. So I went through the safety kit on the boat that I had, and as luck has it, there was a flashlight, and I was able to get out a 9-volt battery, and it's still got lots of juice in it, so that's important. There was also a piece of steel wool. What this was doing in a safety kit, I have no idea. Wasn't my boat, but maybe it was for polishing the stainless steel propeller. Man, I'm sorry to lose that. That was expensive. That's going to be tough to replace. Anyway, maybe it was there to polish the stainless steel propeller. But either case, I've got a piece of steel wool. This isn't an old Indian trick. It's a little bit more high-tech than that, but apparently you can start a fire using a piece of steel wool and a 9-volt battery. So I also got lucky this morning, and I saw floating out in the lake, we had this old hook knife, tile knife, whatever you want to call it, in the boat that we used to use basically just for hacking the stuff where we didn't want to damage any of our good fillet knives or fishing knives or hunting knives. We just wanted to hack away at something. We had this on there. Luckily, this is a wooden handle. All the other knives have gone. They're all at the bottom of the lake somewhere or in a tackle box. Luckily, this one with a big wooden handle on it, this was floating in the lake. I saw this bobbing around out there this morning, so I was able to get out there and get it without getting too wet. It wasn't too deep out there. So I was able to get this. This has come in handy because there's a lot of cedar trees here. And cedar, in case you don't know, this is an old Indian trick. The cedar, the evergreen part, tends to keep the tree dry. Plus the cedar, the bark on the cedar is really, really oily. It contains a lot of oil. That's why cedar is such a good wood, has such natural preservatives, because it's got so much oil in it. And the bark, it's really easy to shave it down, really fluff. So it's really light, makes excellent tinder for starting a fire. So I got some cedar bark with this knife off of a cedar tree in there, and I went back to the big old pine tree, got a handful of dry pine needles as well. I've got some twigs here, so got to get a fire going because it's freaking cold out here. So I got my steel wool, I got my cedar bark, my cedar tinder, and I've got some pine needles. So wish me luck. Let's see if we can make a fire. Looky there. Time for some bigger firewood. All right. A 9-volt battery, some steel wool, and I got warmth. I've built this fire on a big rock because, as Smokey says, only you can prevent forest fires. And I don't want to. Bad enough I'm worried about having to run from black bears. The last thing I wanted to be doing is running from a forest fire. Some of this needles and that on the ground is really tinder dry. And even though it's been raining a lot lately, there's always the risk of a fire getting out of hand and getting out of control. So, like I say, I've got my twigs and sticks here, and I should be able to get this going enough to generate some warmth and heat, and hopefully be able to survive. Fire is important; it keeps you warm. And if I am able to catch a fish or some kind of wildlife, I got to start figuring out if there is any wildlife around here and what it is. But if I can somehow catch some wildlife, or maybe rig up a snare or something like that, or a trap, and get something, at least now with the fire going, I can actually cook it, and hopefully get some protein in me and get something to eat, because I can't be living off berries. Can't be living off berries and bulrush roots up here. It's not good for you. So I'm going to have to find some protein eventually. Anyway, at least I've got a fire now. Yippee! Time to start thinking about a shelter. Get some more firewood.